now. In front's Goldsborough. Running home well as Iamati at the 125. Goldsborough just in front. Driving at it's Iamati. Goldsborough, Iamati on the outside, lunges and gets up. Iamati's just won.
Welcome to Bet Doctor, Brisvegas edition. I'm your host, Scoot, and we're going to talk all things Queensland racing. I've got Donny, Mr. Polly himself. It's Ducks and Drakes up here. It's a heavy 16 in my backyard, but that's Polly weather.
It is absolutely perfect Polly weather. I'm just hoping every meeting gets transferred to either Sunshine Coast Polly or the Gold Coast Polly. So it's good to find winners on those tracks, and let's just hope Racing Queensland pushes, even though the listed races tomorrow, straight onto the Polly track.
Oh, gee. Maybe we'll get a postponement. Might be Saturday's racing on Sunday or Monday, but we shall see. GK, are you floating down the south side of Brisbane? You're still with us? You're high and dry?
Barely. The pool's gone over a few times. I will just say that I'm glad Donny's not in charge of Racing Queensland. Otherwise, we'll probably have the Stradbroke on the Polly track next year. So, look, it's been very wet up here. Like, I think we've had close to 150 mils last week. So, let's hope we go ahead.
Beautiful stuff. Brisbane's most eligible bachelor. I think someone's got a hold of the run sheet here. Tom Henjak joins us again.
Yeah, how'd you know I was single? That's what I want to know.
This is just a billboard for your love life. Let's not confuse things. But haircut looking good 2 weeks in, and you've only just stopped partying from Hell's victory.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I know he was kind of saying after the race that we're going to the George Moore. I don't think that's the plan, to be honest. There'll be a Class 6 in a couple of weeks. But yeah, it was a pretty good win, and look, that was obviously the meeting that feeds into the meeting that we're previewing tomorrow. I don't think we'll be racing tomorrow, but I'd say there's a good chance to get transferred to like a Sunday or a Monday or something like that.
That'll suit us.
It'll suit well, yeah. Monday, yeah.
Monday be the go.
Any day racing is good, or we could go to the Polly tomorrow and everyone's still happy.
Yeah, well, I love the meeting, so it better go ahead. That's what I'll say.
Jason will find a way, and after today's big dump of about 20 mil, I think it's going to break right up. But let's talk about last weekend a little bit. Egyptian Goddess, have you recovered from that one, Donny? 4 and 5 wide at the 300. I was thinking, how smart's Donny? You're a genius.
I was thinking that too for most of the race, and I thought it went straight past the leader at the 200, and I wasn't counting my cash, but I was getting extremely excited, and it just ran out of puff late, but it was still a good run. It was still $6 or $7 a play, so still happy with the result.
Belt came off and just about to drop the strides, and then just hit the brakes. But you would have your pants off. I am Marty. What an ATM he's, GK.
Oh, yeah, just fantastic horse for me and for my group. I think we've been on 5 of the 6 times. Complete fill up. Don't know how it won the race. Just feel very fortunate that we got that one across the line, but I don't think I'll be doing too many victory laps. I thought Donny's tip on Egyptian Goddess was stroke of genius, and then when it travelled out wide, I was like, oh, here we go. We're never going to hear the end of this, but thankfully it got beat.
Kerchak run through a brick wall, so that horse is completely flying. And Donny and I had a conversation off air, and on the tapes, Poetic Drama was given a 12 out of 10, so no excuses there. But Turbo, this horse has just gone to a brand new level. We also spoke about this horse, but I need some of its feed, I think, to give myself a bit of an edge.
Yeah, I slightly disagree with that kind of view on Poetic Drama. I know she put it like in a good spot 1-1, but I think the horse is a lot better ridden further back. I think it just gets a little bit too keen ridden that close to the speed. But in saying that, like, I don't think he'd swap the result anyway. Like, Kerchak sat 3 wide the trip. I know the fence isn't the place to be, but like to still sit 3 wide the trip over a mile in a race like that and still bolt up, like, that was just incredible. I think he said earlier in the week he might be going to Sydney or something like that, and pretty phenomenal story as well. Like, he bought it for $3,000 off David Van Dyke after it had tendon issues 2 years ago or something like that. So yeah, it's a pretty good horse, I think.
Yeah, certainly rule my weekend, so that's terrific. But Moonsweeper was another one that was tipped heavily back. I just thought its wheels spun and probably forgive it back to a good track, and it'll be better for the outing.
Yeah, I think Malian kind of sneaked it back to last when it jumped cleanly, so they ran about 12 lengths slow to the 800 and it zipped home. So if he just sits it, even 3 wide was fine on the day. If he just sits it out there, it's fighting out the finish or definitely in the placings, and I backed it each way. So tough watch, but it'll keep for another day. It's a really nice progressive horse from the Dunn stable.
Cost us the team multi. It's only 5 minutes into the show, and we've started to throw grenades at some riders. We'll try and keep it clean this episode. We've got some poly action on Saturday from Donnie himself, and then we're going to have a look at 1, 2, 5, and then 7, 8, 9, 10. So if and when the races go ahead, we've got the quaddy legs covered as well. TopSport Steam were average last week, none from 4. It's a little bit of a maybe a bet with caution on these heavier decks. It was tricky last week. There was a few scratchings, but there could be untold amount of scratchings if the races do go ahead on Saturday itself. But shifting track conditions, and it pays just to keep things tight early, and then you won't get savage with deductions as well. So.
We've won some good money the last couple of weeks as a crew, so I think we've if it's on the heavy deck tomorrow, we've got to keep our cards pretty close to our chest. We don't want to give too much of the winnings back if it is really heavy, because that can throw up some random results.
100%. Yeah, you don't have to charge into them every meeting, that's for sure. Let's have a quick look at the Gold Coast Poly. Your best here, Donnie. That's race 6. It's the Happy Birthday Anthony Don benchmark 62 handicap over 11.50, and Adranos is $3.40 favourite here. Boom in the Dark $3.40. Famous Padrille $5.50. Hidden Melody $6.50. Watermelon $11. My Dog Diesel $16. And much better than the rest. The horse that you like here is Boom in the Dark, and we're going to look at its last start win, and then have a look at its recent trial. And here it is leading.
Yeah, this is its last time it won. It led at a decent tempo, and it really skipped clear. It ran an enormous figure on the data I use in this race. It ran the 6th best last 200 of the day from in front, the best last 200 of the race. If you just look at it, it just really flattens out and lengthens nicely. It was a horse that took a bit of time for Gollan to work out. They threw the blinkers on its second start, and it improved every start after that. So it's a horse that's it's got some really solid form and some big numbers to its name, and I think it's going to go straight to the front. This is its latest trial. It's had 2 trials, both without blinkers, and we can see from the last start that it's a much better horse when it wears the headgear. It just zipped along in front. Wasn't asked for much of an effort, but it kicked clear in a nice trial. It's had 2 trials leading in, so the fitness is definitely going to be there. And I think the key for this horse, it's going to go straight to the front. There is only 2 chances in the race, and it's the Gollan pair, Adrios and Boom in the Dark. They're around the same price in TopSport markets. Other bookies have got Boom in the Dark a touch longer. It's interesting that Gollan's only had the 1 runner in the 2 years of the Polytrack's history. So he's complete opposite to me. He doesn't like the Polytrack at all, and I absolutely love the Polytrack. So, but it's interesting. He's got a stable on the coast now, so I think he must be trying to use the track, and obviously there's not going to be many other races around at the moment. So he's kind of forced into putting his horses onto this track. I wish the jockeys were different. Jace McMurray, I think, is the best jockey in Queensland. Jasper Franklin is on my horse. He's a decent apprentice, but he's going to go, Boom in the Dark's going to go straight to the front. Andrios will be trailing it. I think Boom in the Dark can skip clear at the top of the straight. I love the way it's been pinging out of the barriers in both its trials. It'll have a handy lead, and it'll have to hold off the other Gollan runner. So I'm happy to back Boom in the Dark around the $3.50, $4 mark.
Outstanding. Have any of you boys got a case for or against this runner?
I did almost fell off my chair. No, we won't talk about the jockeys. First, he said Jace McMurray is the best jockey in Queensland. Is that best jockey or best apprentice?
Both. The best is my favourite jockey to back in Queensland by far.
No, that's fair. Nah,
he will dominate.
Honestly, I reckon Noel
metros.
Callow is the best jockey in Queensland at the moment.
He's also probably the
what I
second
reckon.
best jockey to back for sure, especially at the metros.
Yeah, to be honest, can't say I've done the form on this race. I'll do it at the start though, but
GK?
No, nothing for me. Gold Coast Poly is sort of down the list of priorities for me, but I will venture into this race later because now I'm interested.
It's interesting. Andrios has got some good form. It's been racing against Talatani Fields a fair bit, so I'm sure it's going to be well backed. And as soon as the market's up, they come for it. So it's going to be interesting what happens late in the betting. But yeah, I'll be on Boom in the Dark, probably backing it late.
Outstanding, yeah. So $4.50 at the Big Red Giant. So it looks like they're taking a set against that horse. So Absolutely steam into that one and watch the price crumble because all other bookies are completely off the price. Let's have a look at the Doomben card now. Firstly, it's going to be a 10. It's probably a New Zealand 14. But GK, how does the surface play rail true when it's bottomless? And is there anything to look out for here?
Look, I think just with what we know about Doomben when it gets this heavy, like generally they'll come to the middle. Like, usually what we'll see is after races 2 or 3, like lanes 1, 2, 3 are usually chopped up, and like lanes 4 to 8 is generally where you head, and leaders will head to the middle of the track as well. Like I went back through some of the meetings, and the last one that I could see that was somewhat similar was actually Doomben 10,000 day, and not a single leader won that day. Now that was, I think it started out a heavy 8 that day and it ended up a 7, but no leaders won, and generally off speed was the place to be, and they were heading to the middle of the track.
All right, let's get stuck into it. We've got a couple of boys lining up on the same runner in race 1 at Doomben, and with 19 mils forecast with big clumps of 6 and 4 mil, there's no shirking the task here of how wet it's going to be. It's the Portland Sky First Crop yearlings at Widden, 2-year-old, and it's 1,200 metre race. Labella Boom's a favourite, $3.30 at TopSport. Golan, Ange Jones, Don't Doubt a Lady, $3.50 in from 440. Milestone, $3.80. Mr. Democrat, $8 better. Go Talk is $10. Cuddles for Kimmy, $10. And then you've got $18 and zips right out to hundreds for a couple of those runners down in the market. But La Bella Boom is the horse that you guys have lined up on. Bit erratic and bumped on debut, but it's in the black with the white, just coming to the outside now.
Yeah, look, I just thought it was a really nice first up run. In both the trial and in this first start, just stepped slowly away, and Ange just took her medicine and just took the sit, didn't want to sort of push the button, but the way she worked through the line I just thought was fantastic. And, just typical Golan type runner here, we know will improve second up. And I think the key here is that the trial where she was asked for an effort from Callow up the inside was on a heavy track as well. So I think we've seen that she can handle soft ground, and I'm expecting her to come on significantly. And I also think the step to 1,200 is really going to be key here. Some of them just jumped cleaner over the 1,050 and just got away. I think 1,200 is going to be more a go, and ideally they'd want to probably be sitting maybe one out, one back, might be the spot, and then just peel to the middle of the track. And I just don't think there's a whole lot of talent here, to be honest. Some of these others, like the Clinton Taylor horse, I don't know about that. I'm not completely sold on that form line. The Healy first starter is interesting, but it's also nommed for Sunny Coast Friday, but I didn't think there was anything in that trial that scares me, and the rest of the race brigade, I'm not sure there's much ability there. So yeah, pretty keen. Labella Boom.
Yeah, Tamaya, she looks like she's got a ton of ability. Did it all on natural ability, that one.
Yeah, she looks good. I completely agree. I think also to note is on that Doomben day, she was too wide for a fraction of the race, but mostly 3 wide. And that day was a heavily inside lane day, so it was out in the worst part of the track. Hit the line well in the race's best last sectional figures. I think it's going to sit handier, like GK said. Interestingly, that trial day, my times are a 4.3 for that day, so I've still got a little bit of concern on the heavy track, but 1,200 is perfect. I think it'll sit 1-1 and would be too strong. Milestone, like you said, Sunny Coast is off tonight, so it's probably going to line up. It's going to struggle going from an 850 trial to 1,200 first up on a heavy 10. There is not much else in the field that I'd be keen on. So, yeah, they opened to the wrong price here with Labella Boom, and it's starting to get into its right price, but I still think there's some meat on the bone left in the current price.
Yeah, I think that she'll get through the heavy track, but sometimes they don't get through absolute heavy. It can be a massive difference between, say, an 8 and a 10 and a 14. Anything to add there, Tommy, or are you happy to skip past it?
No, I pretty much agree with what the boys said. The James Healy runner going to 1,200 first up in a race on a heavy deck, it's going to, I'd say, almost double in price of what it's going to start now. So, yeah, I'd say if you like Labella Boom, probably be backing it before the meeting. I think it'll shorten up quite significantly.
All right, let's go to Doomben Race 2. It's the Des Lambert Memorial, 1 Metro Win Handicap, 1,600 metre race. Torabella is 245 into 195. Evocator 550, ready as ever, 650, American Fireball 750, Original Gaze $8, $9, It's a Mia Mario, $9, and then Rainbow Connection 10 and 50s about the stragglers in the field. Torabella, Tommy, is the horse that's bounced back into form. Golan said trainer the first time, and then just sits behind the leader here. And tell us why you like it.
Yeah, so this was the run behind. Well, it ended up beating home Metal Art, who look, it's got some ability. I think they probably rode Metal Art a little upside down going forward. Their hands were tied with the wide gate, so I can see why they went forward. And look, the time and the times were nothing flash, that's for sure. But this horse was only second up, and sometimes you just got to believe your eye, and it did it quite comfortably. I don't think it really ever got out of second or third gear, and I just really like its work late through the line. I think it's crying out for a little bit further. And the big thing in its favour is not only is it race fit with no weight on its back now, it's also bred to swim. So the big thing in this race is a lot of horses I think are going to really struggle on a real heavy deck. Whereas I know this horse is gonna absolutely lap it up. From a map point of view, I think it's absolutely perfect too. She's got options from the gate. I think Original Glaze will probably lead, and I think it's a little bit of a poly warrior, and I think it's going to struggle on a real heavy deck over a mile. And she can either sit outside it or take a sit 1-1, and I don't think it's a real issue for this horse. I think the only danger in the race really is Evocator. It's the out and out wet track on the quick backup from last Saturday's meeting at the Sunny Coast. It did go quite good there. I think that was behind Aerial Dancer. It did come in the best part of the track though, so it's a horse that's it's got a fair few convictions. It's Evocator, and whether a heavy 10 mile is what it's looking for, but I do concede it's the main danger. And then the rest of them, I was pretty much giving them none on a heavy deck. Ready as ever gets a big weight drop, and it's got superior form, but I just don't see it handling a heavy 10, so I'm quite happy to bet against it.
Makes sense to me. Donnie, you're eager.
Yeah, it looks hard to beat Torabella, whether you want to dive in at the shorts on a heavy 10. It's up to you, but Evocator's got one of the worst jockey downgrades in history, possibly. Luke Dempsey off, Jimmy Orman on, so that's its main issue.
And Ready as ever's got Callow off and Dempsey on. GK, any thoughts about this race? Or
I just thought Tommy summed it up really well. Like, I think there's only two chances. Look, Evocator has sucked me in many, many times, and I'm not going to be sucked in again, but I do concede this is a really good setup for it. Look, I think I probably just won't bet in this race, but I think they're the two chances. We'll just see what happens with the market with Torabella.
Yeah, I've marked Torabella pretty short, so I'm happy to. I think a lot of people get. I think a lot of people kind of get picked up sometimes with like heavy track pricing and stuff, and you really do have to focus on that and throw the rest out of the bin. And I can get this quite short. Just taking into consideration, a lot of these aren't going to handle a heavy deck, but in saying that, I'd be surprised if some of these go round in this race anyway. So, like, it is a little bit of a wait and see.
Just on the map too, Torabella's going to be outside the lead or leading, and Evocator's got no early gate speed. So as soon as the gates open, you are going to want to be on Torabella, and if the miracle happens and Evocator knocks you off, you probably just have to cop it sweet. So I can definitely see where Tom's lining
that's
up with
the way
Torabella
I'm
here.
going. But yeah, 100%.
yeah, you'll know pretty early then. Doomben Race 5 is the next one. It's the Empire of Japan Class 2 plate, 1,200 metre race. Taltani Fields, a horse mentioned before, has been 350 into 310. End Assembly, who we just saw in the last replay, $8. Sultry Siren, $8 in from 10. Boom Shot, $9. Shaco, $9.50. Save of the Dream, $9.50. And then you got Gospel Girl, $11. $12 Run with the Tide, and $21 or better the rest. Sultry Siren is the horse that you like in the black and white spots. Here's its last start win. Tommy?
Yeah, this was a really nice win. I know it's only coming through 2 midweek races, but it broke its maiden up here for Heathcote, and it was a really low win. Like, it sat second pair on the fence. I think Ice Chocolate might have been in that race or something like that. It was a really poor maiden win. And then they threw it in they went up against Flying Aurelius, who was a really progressive galloper up here, and it wasn't too bad. And then its 2 runs since then have been really, really good. And both its last 2 starts, I think it's run some of the best last 6-4-2 sectionals of the entire meeting. And the thing I love about that win last start that we're watching is that last 50 meters, it just pricks its ears and it just switches off. So I think there's still a lot more to come with this horse. And the way I'm thinking the track is going to play, it's just bread and butter Maloney. Like, he's just going to have this midfield come into the middle of the track. And yeah, as I said, I think it's a horse that's got a little bit more to come. Going into a Class 2 race on a Saturday where I think there's not a great deal of chances. I think it handled a soft six last start, and from what I've seen in the yard, it's definitely going to handle a heavy deck. I do concede that Tautani Fields is definitely the horse to beat. The way I'm looking at it, though, is I don't think the inside's going to be the place to be. So that probably takes a little bit of, you got to probably factor that in a little bit. But yeah, last start was very good for Tautani Fields. We spoke about it last time I was on the show, and it's trialled well on Tuesday at Doomben on a wet deck. So again, it's a field where it's a big field, so there should be good tempo, but it could be one where a lot of these end up scratching. So a little bit of a watch and see, but I do think the early markets completely missed Sultry Siren.
I'll tell you what, it's breeding in terms of a heavy deck, a schnitzel out of a Casino Prince mare, and I think that mare Suki, it won a Glen Logan Park Stakes, so it won a stakes race in the Brisbane Carnival, and I think got close to Noidart in a Canterbury Classic, so didn't really get many opportunities on a heavy deck, given the nature of Queensland racing at times, but it's bred to be a complete duck. GK?
Yeah, look, I thought one of the other chances in the race was probably Boomshot. I'm not completely sold on a super heavy track for this horse, but I think some of those races that it's come through those midweeks, they haven't really suited in terms of the race shape. This could probably suit better, and I do think it'll get to the right part of the track. It'll probably just be off speed there. So I think Boomshot's a chance, but yeah, look, I think Sultry Siren is certainly a chance as well, and Tautani's in the race. Obviously, is probably a deserved favourite.
Donnie, want to play in this one or too hard?
It's too hard for me. Only if the races get pushed back and we get into a sort 5 or sort 6 later on Sunday or Monday, I think you could bet up on Tautani, but at the moment, yeah, I'll be definitely staying out.
Outstanding. All right, it's quaddie time, so let's have a look at race number 7. It's the Tatts Recognition Stakes, and this is a 110% market jobby. So Friday 3 till 4 at TopSport. So it nearly forces you to play once Tristan drops the percentage down to 110%. Navy on the Highway's favourite here with a pretty good effort behind Belclair last time in much tougher company. 225 favourite. Midnight Tokyo $3.50. Flying Trapeze $5.50. Orton $6.50. You called it $14. Captain Finkel $21. Ekaterina $26. 34 Arts Object, and then you got American President. Replay we've got here is Midnight in Tokyo. GK.
Yeah, well, look, I think on the replay, you missed the start, which is the most important thing, where it just jumps up in the air, and it really cost it the race. And then, it's sitting out the back. It has to work across heels. It really worked between like the 8 and the 4. It gets out wide, and it just powers through the line. And I definitely think Midnight in Tokyo should have won the race, and it trialled really well before that. Now we get into a race where I really think we have minimal chances here. Like I would be surprised if one of Navy on the Highway and Midnight in Tokyo don't win the race. And when the markets went up and sort of what we've seen since, I think there's just been a general gravitation towards Navy on the Highway because of map and everything. But I do wonder whether we are getting to a stage where it's being overbet. Like on paper, that performance in Sydney was a good one, but it was a slowly run race. It was on speed favoured. It was rails favoured. It got a lot of favours there, right? Like there were horses like Alentia that were struggling to go past it late. And Alentia is a better horse than Navy on the Highway. And then if we look at the previous performance in Brisbane, it was another slowly run race. So look, I love this filly or mare. Fantastic. We know it's the stakes grade mare, but I'm not sure we've totally worked out what her level is yet. And I'm just getting the sense that Midnight in Tokyo has actually gone to a new level this, Brett. And I think that at the early prices and probably still at the current price, I think Midnight in Tokyo is the value in the race. And I've got them pretty close together, almost equal favourites.
Donny?
Yeah, it's a tough one. Navy on the Highway, I think if it handles the conditions, it probably is the winner. Like you said, it's just going to have the map advantage on Midnight in Tokyo, but it's a race I'm not too keen to playing. I understand Midnight in Tokyo has gone to a new level, but I think the whole Nation stable has as well. They're just winning everywhere right across the country. So surprising they're sticking with Fenelon on Navy on the Highway. So I'll be staying out.
I wanted Midnight in Tokyo to go to race 8. So, yeah, I'm sort of a little bit frozen here because I think this race is a bit trickier given the reasons you guys have listed. Tommy?
Yeah, question I have for GK. Do you think Midnight in Tokyo is better at 1,200 or 1,350? Because that's what I'm still yet to make my mind up on this.
Yeah, look, it is an interesting one. Like before last start, I thought it was a 7 furlong horse for sure. So like I was thinking 1,350, 1,400 is the sweet spot. Last race, I was like, maybe that's more its go. I'm unsure as well. But I think in this race, provided it jumps cleanly and provided Wheeler can sit no further than, a couple of lengths off maybe on the highway, it's going to get to the right part of the track. And I think this does have the ability to run this horse down. So, I think it's still an open question. I don't think we've completely worked out what Navy on the Highway's level is going forward. I think we know what Midnight in Tokyo is.
Yeah, I think it's a 7 furlong horse, but I agree completely. Like I've got these two marked very similar, and I'd be shocked if one of them kind of get beat, to be honest, because Flying Trapeze, I think it's kind of shown it doesn't really love wet conditions, and I don't think it has much ability, to be honest. Anyway, Orton, I'm not sure where it is at this preparation. I'm not sure it goes on a heavy deck either. So it really only comes down to 2 chances, I guess. Maybe one that could blow them out of the water at big odds would be Katarina. Its 2 runs back have been pretty ordinary on firm decks, but yeah, I'm not sure where it's at either. So yeah, it looks those kind of 2, to be honest. And track pattern's going to be key. Like that's what I think it's going to come down to be honest.
Yeah, and I think if the track is playing like we think it might, and it's playing down the middle, and it's going to be difficult for leaders, this is a task for Navy on the Highway. And maybe I've created this sort of dream map and narrative in my head, as we tend to do, but I've sort of got a few trying to kick up a little bit and making Navy on the Highway work a little bit from out wide to get across to the lead. And then is Fenelon going to stick to the middle? I don't know. It's still sticky, I think, the map.
All right. So anyone that had the big M with the big texter next to Navy on the Highway might have a question mark around that. So we might have stifled some betting there. Let's have a look at Doomben Race 8, and it's the Tatts Classic over 1,200 metres, and it's Bubba's Bay, the favourite. Tommy's pin-up horse, $2.90, Appen Girl for $80, Party for $2, $6. Saltaire is $6.50, Abounding $8.50, Black on Beauty $10, Miss Hellfire $15, My Snow Queen $20, and Penjadi $21, My Baby $26, and Uncut Gem $101. Replay we're going to have a look at here is Bubba's Bay, but I don't know who wants to talk about this one. Maybe Turbo and or GK.
Yeah, I don't mind this race because it's another one where when you look at wet track form, you can kind of narrow it down a little bit. The last start win of Bubba's Bay, it was probably a little bit better than what it looked because he was going to get a nice run kind of in behind the speed, and then I think Maloney kind of reverse parked on the horse he was on, which was hard to say, and then Malian had to pop 3 wide and then do a lot of work. I guess the query with this, like when I did this race, is there's going to be a lot more substance to the chasing brigade than what we saw there last start. But in saying that, Bubba's Bay is rock hard fit, and it's going to love a heavy track, whereas that's something that you can't say a lot about a lot of the other horses in this race, and she's just so genuine. Tempo on paper looks good. You got Black on Beauty will probably want to go to the lead. Party for $2 has to go forward. First up 1,200 heavy deck, not for me. My Snow Queen with Cody Collis, it could go forward. So Bubba's Bay just gets the right run in behind the speed again. And then you got the next two in the market are huge worries on wet tracks, I feel. Like Up and Girl, she might just be a little bit too brilliant for a wet track. I think a turn of foot's going to be dulled, and also 1200 on a heavy deck's got to be some query. And we've seen it time and time again with the bounding. Well, not time and time again. We've seen her twice in the carnival on wet tracks where she wasn't as brilliant. And then when she found those firm decks later in the carnival, that's when we saw her at her best. So I think the main danger to Bubba's Bay is going to be Solitaire, but it's another one where you got to wait and see what the track does. If they're coming down the middle, I think Solitaire's it's a huge chance in a race like this and way over the odds. But if the track's tending to play towards on paces, then I think Bubba's Bay might be too tough for him.
I tend to agree with everything you've said there, Tommy, which is scary. Yeah, Up and Girl, 1,200 metres on a wet deck, that might be at her absolute limit. GK?
Look, I agree with Tom. Look, I think this is just another example of fantastic placement by the Lee stable. Like they just put this horse in the right races over and over again. And after the last start, I was like, oh, okay, I think I've filled my bucket with Bubba's Bay enough in the last few months. Maybe it'll be time to sort of shift gears or whatever. And then I did the race sort of thinking I'd be opposing it. And I just keep coming back to it. Like it just gets into the perfect position on these types of tracks. It can sit second pair, it can lead, it can sit OSL, it can sit wherever they want, right? Depending on how it jumps. And it just gets to the right part of the track and gets the right run every single time. Like it's a horse that Doomben just suits it absolutely down to the ground. So I just think it's found a perfect race again. And then we have a heavy track where those in behind who have a lot of ability, like Abounding and Solitaire and those types, it's just not the right setup for them. Like I think Solitaire has a chance. I loved the trial from Abounding. I thought it was fantastic. But again, first up here, like you could see Abounding exploding in 1 or 2 starts time, maybe once we get to the Gold Coast or something. But it's just Bubba's Bay's just found the perfect race yet again.
The other horse that I thought was super first up was Miss Hellfire. Then she trialled, and I was really disappointed. I don't know whether they rode her too close in the Hot Danish, or maybe the horse had sort of got away from them a little bit because she was sort of a month between runs. She's probably the X Factor horse that on her day could pop up here and spoil the party. And I think perhaps on a wet deck she'd be suited as well. Any thoughts or any love for that train of thought, Tommy?
No, I agree with you. I think they probably were close going to 1,400 last start. I think that was the Navy on the Highway race that we referenced earlier. So yeah, I do think they rode it too close. We've seen her up in the carnival up here kind of just recently, and look, I think it's a definite chance, that's for sure. I wouldn't be discounting her at odds, but at the end of the day, she's won a 2-year-old race at the Gold Coast, at a benchmark 78 at Rose Hill and a benchmark 78 at Randwick. So, I mean, I can't knock it at the odds, to be honest.
I just thought of running the Niverson and the Helen Conglin was too good to ignore at the price point of $15. She's still in my black book, and yeah, forgive one bad run, which is last start, especially given how well the stable's going.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. Bubba's Bay's a box sticker. I don't think Solitaire runs 1,200 down a well. And I think the roughie is My Snow Queen. It can handle the track. But it's a race again that I could probably back Bubba's Bay, just depending how the track pattern is.
All right, Doomben Race 9 is a quaddie leg here. No one's got any black bookers or a big firm opinion on it. But let's have a look at it for quaddie purposes and maybe throw out a couple of numbers quickly. It's the 1,100 metre benchmark, 78 for Colts and Geldings. Bustling's favourite $4, Bossed Up $4.80, Payline $5, Acres Away $8.50, Epic Proportions $9.50, 10 Deep Respect Adriel $13, Troika $15, Telez $19, Godfather $26, Hartoni, Mr. Galazzi, all similar quote with Mark Dreamer and Kavak. Tommy, you're the youngest, so you can go first. What numbers would you throw in your quaddie?
Numbers to go in the quaddie, I would go. I don't think Deep Respect can win. I don't think Epic Proportions can win. I don't think Acres Away can win. So we'll go 8 Troika for me, 10 Payline, 13 Busting. I think those are the 3. Possibly Bossed Up. Possibly 12.
GK?
In my quaddie, I will be putting Deep Respect in just as the smoky of the blowout, just the class of the race. I have Busting on top and I have Payline as the main danger. So I would be
13, 10, 1.
13, 10, 1.
Definitely got to throw 11 Adriel in. It's changed stables, 2 trials leading a good 1 first up, last prep on a heavy track running time. So it definitely goes into the quaddie.
Outstanding. All right. So if you're listening at home and want to jot down the numbers, so it's 1, 8, 10, 12, 11 and 13. So easy does it. So we'll zip straight along to number 10, race number 10, and it's the TopSport Benchmark 78 handicap over 1350. Metal Art, the horse we saw before, is favourite here. Another wide draw, 12 for Schweider and M. Rod. $3.20 at TopSport. Tabs $4.20. Botontes $8. Oceans of Energy $9. The Inflictor $10. Bad Education $11. Starry Eyes $17. Brentwood $18, and then you got 19 for Patton, and then 20s or better the rest. The horse that you like here is the Dun Stable Oceans of Energy GK.
Yeah, look, I thought this was a really encouraging first up run, and it's proven on wet tracks, this thing. It was in that race that Hell won. You know, I think Emily sort of controlled that race really well. They went pretty slow. Like on my data, they went something like 3 lengths slow to the 800. So obviously this had no chance catching Hell, but nothing did. And it was just fantastic through the line. It was something like plus 5.5 lengths the last 800. And I just thought it was a really encouraging first up run for the step out in trip. Second up last prep, it won over horses like Miss Jolene and Tora Bella. And then later in the prep, they tested it out in some of the really strong 3-year-old filly staying races. So look, I think it's a pretty good setup for this. I liked the trial before the first run. It's out of a done deal. So it's probably a complete duck on the wet. The only issue is barrier 1, but you know we were getting close to double figures, and I think there's question marks over a number of these. Like yet again, Metal Art has drawn wide. There's speed underneath it. There's going to be horses like Brentwood and others that are going to kick up and make it work. Where does it get to? There's, you know, a few others in the race that you could perhaps make a case for. Tabs was, you know, crawling all over them last start, but is this the right race on this heavy deck? I don't know. I just thought Oceans of Energy was the value runner here.
Yeah, when I first looked at this race, I got a headache, and then I saw a little form reference to Hell, and the Inflictor was the horse that I thought is probably best bred to get the conditions. So, not sure if Tommy has a thought on this one.
Last start, Tabs, I think it's definitely overbet now. Like, it was unlucky, but in saying that, it was a bad race. And look, there's no doubt the horse went like a bomb and it's going to win races up here. But the way, I don't think there actually is going to end up much pressure in this race. So I think Oceans of Energy, especially from gate 1, it's going to be able to settle a lot closer than, we saw it second up last prep in a slow run race. I think Kyle had it second pair 1 off. So it's going to be in a really good spot. The horse I thought was way over the odds was Moon Air Me. It was in that Tabs race and it was ridden upside down. And it was a little bit of a missed runner by most people because I think everyone was just focusing on Tabs. But I thought Moon Air Me was quite good. But it's another one where it's going to get back. I don't think there's going to be a great deal of pressure in this race. So I guess it comes down to whether you want to take 350 about Metal Art. That's probably the main question in the race. And I don't think I can. If it won, I wouldn't be surprised. But again, I don't want to take 350 about Metal Art.
So nearly a sit-out job. Donnie, any thoughts?
M-Rod goes back on Metal Art, which is a massive positive. He's 4 from 4 on him, so CJ's off, which is a good thing for Metal Art supporters. Like you say, Tabs, if it finds an Eagle Farm or a Sunny Coast track, not on a heavy track, it would be immoral in a 1,400-metre race, but it's just kind of not sure this is the right race without speed. It's got no gate speed. We'll have to circle the field. Oceans Energy, I gave it a good push last start. Got into the placings, which is good. It's a massive chance. I think Patton's a decent roughie coming out of a strong race as well, but I'll be going pretty wide in the quaddie and probably won't be betting single bets.
All right, so maybe tread with a bit of caution in the last race there. All right, I'll let you boys think about team multi-time and get your best ready for our top 2 special. So we're 0 and 2 for the top 2 special. Just keep missing a leg, and
Well, both
hopefully-
of mine have won. So, you know.
You $1.80 shots.
Yeah. Hey. Look, they still won.
exactly.
Fair play.
Hopefully, TopSport's early bets can find a winner here or help lead us into it. Sometimes it works out that way, but this is a bet that you guys would like to lay. Race number 1, horse 5, Don't Doubt the Lady, so $6.50 at $4. You're happy to take that one on. This could be Turbo's bet himself. Race 2, number 9, Torabella, $1,300 at $2.50. So it's a big push for that one. And this is definitely his bet. So he's doing a lot of business early with TopSport. Race 5, number 12, Sultry Siren, $500 at $11. Is that yours, Turbo?
Nah, not yet.
You're waiting?
I was waiting to see whether the race is going ahead, but then I saw the King's Owns tipped it on his Saturday set, which is a bit frustrating because the price keeps going off, but we'll see.
Could be Kingsley himself. Doomben Race 7, number 9 is the last one. That's Orton, $400 at $7 there. So
Completely gone, that horse, I thought. I've been on it the last 2 starts.
Yep, happy to pen it.
Definitely. I'm jumping off, so it might give it a boost.
All right. Donnie, you can lead us off with the top 2 special.
I'll just go La Bella Boom. If GK wants to have that, I can go something else.
Yeah. GK, have you got a $1.80 chance for us?
Oh, there's always a $1.80 chance. But Johnny can have La Bella Boom. What will I have? You can put me into Bubba for top 2.
Bubba's Bay?
Yep.
And Tommy, you're going to go short and sweet with Torabella, your absolute Monty for the day? Or something else?
Torabella.
All right. Tristan might have to get a bit creative, but after Spring Carnival we've had down south, I'm tipping he's got some chips to spend. So we're going to go Bubba's Bay for GK, Tommy's gone Torabella, and then Donnie's got La Bella Boom in the first. So if you like the sharp end of the market, our top 2 special is for you this week. All right, fingers crossed they get through the meeting Saturday, but no doubt they'll push it back to Sunday or Monday because, the quality of horses and races is too good to miss. So fingers crossed they can get that one done, and no doubt they'll get the poly done tomorrow, which is good news for you. And then, maybe some of the Sunshine Coast meetings will get pushed to the poly also. But that's a wrap from us. Episode 3, it's going smoothly, Donnie.
Flying along. Hopefully we'll get another green W in this week's edition.
Yeah, outstanding stuff. Thanks, GK, and thanks, Tommy.
Thanks, guys.
Sweet. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. All right, we'll have more of Brisvegas, Queensland style next week. We'll see you then.